All right, hey guys, Kid here, Burn One Shadowverse Evolved channel. Finally making it to Haven. Still joined here with Pressure and Nova. You both want to say hi?
Howdy.
Howdy, as they say in Reveal.
All right, let's.
So excited for that set. I gotta wait another year, but it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
All right, here's the rating key for those that aren't familiar with it, and let's just kind of hop right into it. First card here, Limonia, Flawed Saint. It's a 3-drop 3/2, evolves for 7. Fanfare, put a repair mode token into your EX area, and then has activate, banish a repair mode from your EX area. This card evolve costs 1 less this turn. Then on the evolve side, on evolve, destroy each enemy follower on the field, and then activate for 0 play points. Select a Machina follower that costs 2 or less in your cemetery. Summon it and activate only once per turn. So this is kind of the huge payoff for playing Machina in Haven. I feel like it's just like a one-side board clear. Getting the 5 discount on the Evo is actually pretty. It happens quite often from the matches I've been watching and everything. I have not played the deck myself, so it's not like impossible to Evo this essentially for 5 play points total, like the cost of the card plus 2 for the Evo. So you don't have to really worry that much about it costing 7 to Evo. But I guess if you're down bad, it is possible. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, so this deck stacks. Oh, sorry, Pressure, do you want to go?
Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think Limonia and Haven, this is the first Machina Haven card we've seen, and I think this is sort of the mirror of the Natter Forest like deck, where this is the Machina version of like sort of the heavy control deck, because the payoff is like this big board clear. And it is gonna come online pretty fast, because all of the Haven cards, most of the Machina Haven cards, are going to be generating 1 to 2 repair modes, and it's going to happen fast. And I really like how this ties into the other big sort of payoff with this deck, which is the consistency. There's a lot of cards that are like, draw cards if you have a bunch of repair modes or whatever, and this is like the hey, draw into this card and then clear the board and then draw into this again. I really like that.
Yeah, this deck is all about stacking up repair modes in the EX, and it stacks them up very, very quickly. So you're going to be able to evolve Discount and Limonia pretty easily, and then of course your payoff is both a board clear and a free getting back a guy for free. And then your opponent immediately has to deal with it. Otherwise, she's just going to keep reviving guys on your turn. So yeah, this is a pretty good payoff for Machina Haven. I have heard mixed things about Machina Haven. Some people say it's really good, other people say it's really bad and disappointing and doesn't really get good until set 12 when it gets more support. I have to test it a little bit more myself, but I like it. I like Meowskers as a card is really cool. I always thought she was a really cool character in Digital 2. She's not from the story or anything. I just like the design. This robot lady who runs a cult, basically. She starts her own cult, and I really like all the Machina archetypes, and even if this one is it's not as popular as Mono, but I'll test it out and I'll try it some. I do for those interested in it, even if it is a kind of underwhelming this set, know that it does get better eventually in set 12. So
yeah, one thing to add too, I've also heard a lot of mixed things of people in my like play group already who have started testing. They're saying like either I've heard the things like Machina Haven might be like a little bit slept on. But they're not 100% sure also, because I mean this is early testing. The one thing I do want to say, which is like unfortunate, because I actually like this card. I think everything on this card is great, except I'm sad that it has only 4 health on the Evo side, which means it dies to Surefire. But that's like that's a kind of whatever. At least once it does Evo, you get the payoff and everything. So, but yeah, that's my only sad part.
By that point, you've already cleared the board and summoned another guy, so losing her isn't a huge deal.
Yeah.
I also like how easy it is, because she summons a repair mode herself, so you don't have to like have a full board before, or a full EX area before you play her down. And we're gonna see, here soon, like there's gonna be a lot of just like you can get this probably by turn 4 or 5, depending on if you're going second or first, and it's not, too hard. I think, talking about like, is the deck going to be good or not? I think, for me, from what I've seen and stuff, and just from what it seems like, is this is a deck with where it's, this shell of like consistency and, powerful tools, but there's no like, how do I win the game? Because clearing a board is not going to win the game. And most of the time, and you have to figure out, okay, we have six previous sets of Haven cards. How do we, win the game outside of that? And I think that's going to be the key to this deck. Because this is one of the only archetypes that doesn't have the like, okay, this is how you win the game. Like we saw Mono, that's how you win the game. We saw Sword, you hit Mistalina once or twice. This doesn't really have a win con, or like a big stormer, but it just has a lot of really, really, really strong tools that are just really strong, especially in a game like Shadowverse Evolve. So
yeah, and for Haven, it's everything that you want, which is control, which is stuff kind of oriented towards control.
Yeah. I think just to go on my side Haven rant, I think Haven has like this issue of having like randomly pretty decent tools, just no way to ever close games out like consistently. Like I mean, if you can even call it like the way to close games out, it's like Aegis has been like the the big bad essentially for Haven, and like nothing else has existed since then. I feel like it's just everything is just like good control, but no way to like finish a game out. So hopefully that changes in the future. All right, move on. Oh wait, we gotta rate this card. Forgot we're on the rating. Yeah, solid A all around. I like it. All right, next card here.
All right, Lapis Glorious Seraph, 5-mana 3/7 ward. When this card leaves your field, draw a card for each prayer counter on this card. At the start of your end phase, select a card in your field, put a prayer counter on it, and give your leader +2 health. This card is really, really cool because obviously it synergizes with the Infatuated Seraph we got in set 2. Because you could play this and then you can play Seraph the next turn, or somehow get them both on the field, and then Seraph basically will be like doubled in speed because you'll get 2 counters each turn. Honestly, in my opinion, I think that's like a cute little combo thing, but I think this card is just good in itself. 5-mana 3/7, really defensive ward, will heal you at the end of your turn every turn, and then when this card leaves play, so if it's bottom deck, top deck, destroyed, whatever, banished, whatever, you're going to be drawing cards, at least 1, and sometimes in some matchups 2 to 3. And I really like this. Obviously, this is at this point, this is probably like the best flip off Wilbur. Maybe the Idolmaster Girl as well is pretty good, but this is definitely either number 1 or number 2 now. But I do think Wilbert's still just a really weak card in general. So you probably just play this by herself because it's pretty good. And if you're playing like a control, sort of archetype sort of deck, you are going to have to make sure your early game is really strong because this is just sort of a do nothing turn on 5. Obviously, you can ward it and stuff, but they just kill it. They don't care about you drawing a card if they're pushing 6 to 7 damage that they had on board. This is a very scary card, I would imagine, against Mono in terms of because it does nothing on the board.
When I was doing set 7 testing through a simulator, I played against someone playing Ward Haven, and this card was it was a huge problem because getting through that 7 defense was really difficult. Every turn I couldn't clear it, they healed and got more counters for eventually drawing more cards. So it was just a lot of pressure to get rid of her, which was difficult. And it is cute that the counters are the same types of counters that the Infatuated Seraph uses, because the Infatuated Seraph is her. It's a statue of her. In digital it was cool too. When this card left the field, you got the statue.
And then you won the game, but
no, you have to wait 4 more turns.
Wasn't there a bunch of ways to blow it up like multiple times in one turn?
That was the original Seraph.
That was like the combo. That was like the Seraph Amulet OTK combo. Yeah, I think she's a really good like kind of generic. Like this is kind of something that works in most Haven decks, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. It's very good. I think you guys like kind of hit literally everything good about this card. There's not any like horribly bad sides other than this comes on the board. It doesn't necessarily affect the board immediately or anything like that, and it has a cute combo going for it. This card is like really hard for me to like rate personally because it feels like it has so much upside, but it also feels like it doesn't do anything. If that makes sense, So I feel like this is like a card that's so context dependent. Like in some turns you'll drop this on 5 or something, and it's like backbreaking for your opponent. Other times you like have this card and you're like, well, this card sucks.
I think this is a good example of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of card, where it does a bunch of nice things very well, but are those things that there's not a specialized situation that she's good in. So there's a lot of situation where she's not any good because you need something more specific than what she does, which is just these kind of generically nice effects.
Yeah.
Thinking about the meta right now, like I literally haven't played the Idolmaster meta at all. Does Idolmaster have like a way to bounce opponents? So like, do they have like a floral a Rose Gardener? Because like I'm just thinking about like how this would apply to our meta right now, where the downside of this card is it doesn't affect the board at all, but against like the decks where you need to affect the board, do they even have an answer to this? Where it's like, okay, they're just slamming stuff in. It's kind of like me and Kit talked about one time a long time ago about how like Kawi is like almost like a Themis because they still just have to kill it and it wipes the board basically. Like, can we think of this card like that in the meta, or do the decks where this card would be theoretically bad in, it is bad because they just have a way to remove it and they don't really care about you getting an extra card or you healing and stuff.
Yeah, I think you bring up the great point, especially like the parallels to Kawi. I think this card is basically very similar in that sense because it does require to be answered, because once the pair counters start like adding up, it's just like, oh, they're going to get so much value eventually. And this is still a ward, so you still have to run into it or something, which is the sad part for your opponent, that is. But I think, thinking it that way, it's the same reasoning. I think if Kawi's probably good in the meta, this card's probably good in the meta. If Kawi's bad, then this card's probably bad, right? That's probably how I would end up seeing it.
That makes sense.
Because like this will probably be pretty good like against mono. I'm thinking like in this meta that we're going into, because it's interesting because it's like against the slow decks, this like theoretically will get blown up easier because the slow decks will just have hard removal and stuff. But you're fine by that because you get a draw and you get the heal 2 and they waste their turn. And then against the aggro decks or the more aggressive mid range decks, I guess my main question is: are there ways to like just bounce this or remove this? Like fairies, like this card does nothing against fairy, and stuff like that. So I think it's an interesting card. I definitely will. I think we'll see it a lot. I'm still just skeptical how good it is because seeing a turn 5 play that doesn't affect the board at all.
It reminds me a lot about when we were talking about Dow. Also, like Dow is a good card, but it doesn't affect the board. So sometimes,
but even Olivia, like is immediate, like does something immediately. The only thing this does immediately is heal.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get the draw at some point, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking C to B for this card just because I don't.
I'm a little bit more hopeful. I'm leaning closer to B because I'm more hopeful for this card because I actually do like this card.
I'm leaning towards B too. It's a matter of she's a little bit too. Both her strengths and weaknesses are the fact that she's very general.
Yeah.
She's just a good stuff Haven card, and that can be good or bad depending on the situation.
Yeah. All right, moving on here.
Father Refinement, 5 cost 4/4. Rush, Fanfare, put 2 repair mode tokens into your EX area, recover 2 play points. Strike, draw a card. If there are 5 cards named repair mode in your EX area, draw 2 instead. He is Machina, Faith, and Zealot traits. So this is a really good Machina Haven card.
Yeah.
Effectively costs 3. And then because he has rush, you are going to get that strike effect immediately. So you'll get you will draw at least one card. He adds 2 repair modes, so if you already had 3, then you're getting the draw 2, which is not hard. I think you could definitely get 3 repair modes into your EX by turn 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
this card
absolutely.
is crazy good. Honestly, I'm gonna be real. I think this card's amazing.
Yeah, I think this card's really, really, really good. This is one of those like reasons you'd play the archetype. It's a great example of like how to make a card that's so tied to an archetype, right? Because it's like you can't ever play this outside of Machina, but you know, because you can only play it in this one archetype, I think it's fine to make it pretty overstacked. It's basically a 3-mana 4/4 with rush and draw 2 cards. Like that is really, really, really strong. I mean, there's really no downsides outside of just it being in the deck it's in. And I think it's just a question of how good is that deck. Because if you're comfortable, on 5 dropping a 3-mana 4/4 rush, and you have other things to do with that 2 mana, then that's pretty good. But of course, if by turn 5, you're getting your ass beat by aggro, drawing 2 cards might not matter at all. So it's just dependent on how good the deck is, because we've seen like pretty push cards like this in the past that just, it's just the deck is just not good enough for them to shine, but in a vacuum, this card's insane.
Yeah, one thing too, what I really, really like about this card is that some of the issues I feel like Haven has at times is like you have like board clears that kind of do. I guess it's kind of different now that boost kickers exist, but at the end of the day, a lot of your board clears were either like you literally wipe everything, including your board, or you like John and like basically spend 6 play points to hopefully clear the board, and everything at least has like 4 health or less. One of my biggest gripes when playing Haven a lot of times is a lot of it's like quote unquote good removal is just 1-for-1ing your opponent. This can act as removal, and it lets you go up cards, so you're no longer just like 1-for-1ing. You're like playing this card technically for 3 play points, even though you can only start playing it on turn 5 and later. But it replacing itself at the bare minimum, it just feels better as like even being a removal tool in that sense, because it has rush and so forth, which I really like too.
The only bad thing I can say about this card is that you only can play it in Machina Haven, and that's barely even a criticism.
I think another downside I just thought of is that like if they don't have anything sideways, this card basically does nothing. You have to
True.
leave something alive or you
like you have to play hair.
Like play into because this doesn't have storm, it's just rush. And then realistically, a 4/4 is not living, going into turn 5 or 6, especially if like you didn't have anything to run into. That probably means they're playing a control deck or something, So that is my other big issue, is that there are going to be times where this card's like really awkward because you're not going to get the card draw. And then my other question is just like how many other good 2-drops are there
to go along with this,
so.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna give this an A.
Yeah, same.
Yep. Also A.
All right, moving along. We got Marlone, Light of Balance. It's a 3-drop 3/3 that evolves for 1. Fanfare, each player puts a repair mode token into their EX area, and then on evolve, select the enemy follower costing X or less on the field and destroy it, where X equals the number of cards in your EX area. It's another basically somewhat fakish Dragon Warrior type of card. I kind of like this card just because it oh no, it doesn't even have the Machina trait. I hate this game. But it does give you
There's
a lore
reason though. There's a lore reason though.
Yeah, he's not from Machina or whatever. He's
not from Iollon, he's from Isunia. The reason why Nicola is he who also lives in Isunia, the reason why he is Machina trait is because he is a cyborg who is originally from Iollon, the same world as Tetra and Belphomet and all of them. And then he came to Isunia from that world. So that's but meanwhile Marlone is just like a priest in he's a priest of an atheist church, which is kind of funny in Isunia. And also him and I love how they adapted him to give you repair modes and be like general support for the Machina archetype, because he and Nicola are basically married, and it's great. I think that's absolutely adorable.
All right.
They're not, but they're just like, it's like, oh, just kiss already, you two. You're
yeah.
All right.
I remember this version in digital just being unplayable garbage. This guy sucked in digital. But they made him pretty good here. I mean, this is a, you know, in archetype even better than Dragon. This is the best like Dragon Warrior-esque card we've seen. But again, you have to play in the archetype, you know.
Yeah, okay, listen, while we're talking about all this, I can't keep looking. What is up with his left hand? It's so huge. His fingers look so long.
He got them long fingers.
He got them long fingers. Okay.
He got the fingies.
Yeah.
I like this card in general. I didn't realize it wasn't Machina trait, but I mean that it's not the end of the world. But this is a pretty decent-ish payoff for like just building up all those repair modes and then like slamming this out and like evoing it. You can just kind of remove anything that costs 5 or less, which is pretty big when you're only basically investing 4 to remove it. I don't know how often it comes up where giving your opponent a repair mode token matters, but
in the mirror,
yeah,
it's a cute way to adapt what he did in digital, which was I think he restored each player's life by 1.
He gave a card that restored 1 to each player.
Something like that.
It was terrible.
But yeah, it's cute. He's like, I'm not Machina, but my boyfriend is.
Yeah. Yeah, this card's pretty good. It's just you gotta play in the trait, but he's also not traded. And it's like a Dragon Warrior. And then I do feel like they're giving someone a repair mode, I feel like is gonna be more negative than positive most of the time. It's either gonna be neutral or negative. It's never gonna be like,
yeah, it's never gonna.
You can block a tree coming down or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be more negative for you than positive. It's either ever going to be neutral or, oops, I gave my opponent something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
it's obviously pretty bad if you're playing against another Machina deck, but against like a Natura deck, it's like they'd
have to pay 1 play point to remove it if
they
need
have
that
to pay
space.
1 play point to get it out of their EX. Yeah.
Yeah, but all the other like Natura stuff says you can play it in EX or hand, or I mean, sorry, not hand, EX or play. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bit torn. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I am going to rate it a B as well. I'm like torn between C and B on this one, just because it does feel, this card feels weird, but it reads good.
I feel like C is pretty low. I think a card like this is, this is still like, you have to play in the trait, but it's like it's still like an insanely strong card. Like killing a 5 cost or less is really, really strong.
Yeah.
He's halfway between a B and an A for me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Let's go B+.
All right, moving along.
All right, Augmentation Bestowal. 2 mana, choose one of the following. 1, banish 2 cards named Repair Mode from your EX area. Search your deck for a Machina follower that costs 3 or less. Summon it and then shuffle your deck. Or 2, banish 5 cards named Repair Mode from your EX area. Search your deck for a Machina follower that costs 6 or less. Summon it, then shuffle your deck. This, of course, is one of, if not the most broken digital card of all time. But it was a portal card. And they just,
it was a portal card that did something completely different.
Completely different. Yeah, completely different. This is a really, really cool card. I like this a lot. I think this, I love seeing these sort of consistency like tutor effects in this game, because one of my main issues is how little draw and how little consistency there is in this game. So having cards like this where like this is one of your payoffs to playing in the trait, and it's pretty good. Like getting a 2 mana 6-drop is really strong, and then of course the first effect, you're probably going to be getting your Limonia and stuff. Obviously that's going to come down like later because it eats 2 repair modes, so that will mean the
you'll need to generate 1 more Limonia after Limonia comes out, right? So
yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty cool card. I just don't know how good this deck's going to be, but it's a cool card. This is like the reason you'd play the deck though.
It's so funny how this is just a completely different card from the digital game. It's like it's got the same name and the same artwork, but it's a totally new card. It's in Haven and it does and it's Machina card, whereas the one in digital was a portal and artifact support. A very crazy Machina or artifact combo enabler. Yeah, this is just a generically good card for this archetype where you just you're stacking up repair modes. You can spend some to get a guy and to get whatever guy you're looking for, pretty much.
Yeah. Mana cheating is always good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I almost want to give this an S. Because I think this is like the reason you'd play this deck. And you might even like just...
It might be actually, because you can summon Technolord off this, right? Isn't Technolord 6?
Oh yeah. It's not it can be, it doesn't have to be a Haven Machina, just Machina in general. So yeah.
Because I feel like this is the card that will like determine if this deck is good or not. Like if this card is actually good, then this deck is good.
I think you're right.
Not, then this deck is
it definitely has S potential, so I think I think S is I think we can fairly call it an S because it's got that potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very flexible too in the fact that it has two modes that are just good, and in both modes still technically cheat out like one extra mana worth of, or at least some give you extra mana essentially, or play points.
And this is also like one of the reasons I like this is the Machina deck I'm most high on, because you know compared to the Nadra stuff, Nadra you draw like through half your deck because of just the draw and discard from the trees. Machina doesn't have that, so adding these like super consistent, just tutor cards that are really strong in this deck that makes it consistent is why I like this Machina deck over the other ones.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, can't argue with that. I'll move it along here.
All right, Bunny-Eared Administrator, another new Shadowverse Evolve original card. She's a 2-cost 2/1 fanfare. If this card wasn't put onto the field from hand, select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 3 damage. Activate, pay 1 play point, and discard this card. Give your leader +1. Put this card into your deck as the 3rd card from the top. Is Beast and Fable trait. So here's the other class where they decided to put in Fable support. Honestly, I gave up playing Fable Haven kind of quickly. I just ended up not as being into the playstyle as I thought I would be. What do you guys think about this? Do you think this is a good support for Fable Haven, or is it kind of negligible?
I was gonna say, thank God they gave Fable a bad card. Like, they didn't give Fable Haven. This is an atrocious card.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of feeling, but I didn't want to say like, it feels kind of bad, but I don't know.
It doesn't fit in very well into the archetype of what Fable Haven is currently doing. And I don't know if that changes later on. If there's even more Fable support, will this become more playable then? A lot of times I feel like you don't even care about like answering the board because your egg answers the board in Fable Havens. And then this also like random like pay 1, put this card back, 3rd card from the top, and then it's kind of weird just to heal 1. I wish I knew why they printed like this. It's just kind of weird to me.
I guess to kind of guarantee your Alice searches, so at least like you're not whiffing them.
Yeah, but you don't want to get this card. Like you don't.
True.
This had to either be a 3/2 or a 1-mana 2/1 at some point in the testing, and then like because in digital they always said that they designed sets 5 sets in advance. So they definitely saw Alice win for like the 4th time, and they're like, okay, let's not give them any good support. This is one of the worst cards in the set.
Yeah. Really quick.
Yeah,
if you guys
I don't think
do you guys think the activate effect, if it you put the card 3rd from the top and then draw a card, do you think that would make this card like obnoxious, or?
Well, it's just cycle, right? It's just cycle.
Yeah. I don't know if that matters.
I don't think it would.
And you can't really even play Alice, or you can't even play Fablehaven that isn't like aggressively leaning. So like spending mana to like heal and cycle it still wouldn't be good, you know.
Yeah.
I
I'm
do like the
surprised this
character
doesn't
though.
say
She's very cute in the art.
yeah. I'm surprised it didn't say it hits face or something. Like on the fanfare, you know. 'Cause then I'd
Oh
be like,
that
yeah.
okay.
If it hit face,
that would
maybe that's what it was before.
Well, but even then, this still isn't even that good. So it's just
Oh,
a 2-1.
yeah. I don't know. All right. Well, enough about Fable. Let's move on here. I think this is me, right? So this is a
Yep.
2-drop 1/3 Robofalcon. Evolves for 1 and has Storm. Strike, put a repair mode token into your EX area. Then, if there are at least 3 cards named repair mode in your EX area, give this flower +1. On the evolve side, it becomes a 2/4. It has Storm. Strike, put a repair mode into your EX area. Then, if there are at least 3, you gain an extra attack. And then on evolve, you put a repair mode token into your EX area. So this does generate 2 once it swings on Evo, and which means if you at least have 1 in there already, this is gonna at least swing in for 3 on this on the Evo side. It doesn't seem like the worst in the world. I guess this is also probably the card they kind of want you to summon with Limonia or whatever, right? This is a 2-drop, right? It is 2 or lower, right?
Yeah.
Limonia could
Limonia,
get this,
yeah.
can resurrect this.
Yeah, well, let's see. You hold on. So this only ever swings in for 1 on the Evo, right? Because this will only generate 1 repair token. Okay, I guess on the same turn you Evo, you eat 5 of the tokens, then you can summon this. This only kind of swings in for 1, right? Unless you had more stuff to play in between. Because
Yeah. I don't think you get this off Limonia. I think you get one of the other 2-drops later.
Yeah, most likely. I'm just this is an option.
Yeah, this is a really weird card. Like, this card is so insane, but it has nothing to do with what you want to be doing in the archetype, like at all. Like we've seen, it's all just like this control, you know, like destroy everything, you know, tutor out stuff, you know. But then we get this like really insane storm card, and you're gonna play it because it's just, you know, it fuels the game plan. You get the repair tokens, everything, but it is just like a bizarre, like, you know, if this was like rush and then like, you know, deal 1 damage to something, or I don't know. I almost wish this was like not storm and this was more like another control tool that's like early game, because I just feel like you're gonna play this and it like, but it just doesn't fit what you're doing with the deck at all, or what like it seems like the strengths of the deck are. Because like, yeah, you have this cool early game storm, but that's not really going to win you a lot of games unless you have more storm in the deck, which you don't. So
I think one thing to note too, though, it is a 2-drop that only evos for 1. So it means if you go second, this probably is a pretty powerful card. Not to just also generate repair mode, but also it's like it's going to be at least a 2/4 swinging in.
Yeah, this card is really annoying to deal with. Yeah, this card is really annoying to deal with if they go second and play and evolve this on turn 2.
because then if you play, yeah.
Because you have to immediately then get rid of it, or they're just going to be continuing to hit your face and generate more repair modes.
This is a sick card into mono, because mono has no interaction at all and is not a real deck. But no,
let the mono hate flow through
yeah,
you.
But yeah, like I guess this card is good into like decks that just cannot. But I'm just hearing like, oh, if you go second and this lives, and it's like you're winning anyway. And also if you went first and this lived, you're winning. You know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think it's fine. I have a feeling this is gonna be the card where people are gonna say, "Oh, you want to go second or something."
I don't know. I'm a very adamant. Like after playing this game for so long, just going first is so powerful. Like maybe if they print more cards like this or in the early stages that like the Evo and do like pretty significantly powerful things, kind of like this. Maybe getting the Evo points early will start to matter more.
Yeah, 6 sets of talking to me, and he's like, okay,
listen,
going first.
Yeah, going first is pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. This card is good and fine. It's still like it's like I've talked about in every one of these reviews so far. It's these archetypes only have this set to like get cards for, like right now. And they need to, like, almost every card you have to put in, so they all have to be really good and really on game plan. Which is why I think like Sword is so good, because every one of those cards is on game plan and really good. And every time we see one of these cards, it's like either not on game plan or really bad. It kind of scares me, because it's like, well, that's one less card that like is going to be good in our deck, because we have to put it in, but it's just not like it's not going to feel amazing. I think I'm just going to give this. What would I give Limonia, an A, or would I give? I think I'm going to give this a B. Yeah, I think I'm going to give this a B.
I'm kind of somewhere between B and C. I also go B.
And I'll be the brave soldier here and give it a C. I was between C and B too. I think this is another card that's like, it's a bit weird to evaluate without like having like more context of what is happening. I think generally like what we read here is just all solid stuff, but does that play out exactly how we think it's going to play out? And not exactly sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right, in the games that I played against Marcotte and Haven so far, it's only been a couple, but every time they get this card out, it's usually not like bad. It's usually, I'm like, oh, that's generating repair modes. That's hitting my face. I got to deal with it. It's usually a solid card in the situations where that I've seen so far. So
yeah, for sure though, if this card goes one turn not being answered, it's probably pretty devastating for your opponent. So
yeah.
All right, next card.
All right, Marcotte, Heretical Sister, 2 mana, 1/3 ward, fanfare, draw card. If there are 5 cards in your EX area, instead search your deck for any card, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. This card is so insane. This is the card where you can just play like some sort of small Machina package and then play any Haven deck basically. This is just literally tutor any card. You don't have to reveal it, obviously, because it's just you getting any card, from your deck. I guess you could like slip in some card from your deck.
You play this, you pull like, here's my forte. No, no,
yeah. But this card, and even just the fact that it still is just 2 mana, 1/3 draw card is so strong. This just makes it good in every aspect of the game, where it's not just like like we've seen other Shadowverse cards where it's like terrible unless you complete the quest. That's kind of like a digital thing,
Mm-hmm.
This card is still really good if you just play it on 2 to draw a card and it's a ward. But obviously later in the game you can find what you need. And this is a really good example of like, I like how much they are adding consistency to the game with this set. And I think that makes this set really interesting from like a skill standpoint, because it's going to be hard to like brick in this set unless you're playing some bad decks, but like most of the good decks are really consistent, which makes it so that you have to know how to play the deck, because you're gonna have your options available to you more often than other decks, but this is a really, really good card.
yeah, I don't remember if there are other Haven decks besides this one that really focus a lot on putting stuff in EX area. If there is, then obviously she's also really, really good in that. As said, yeah, in it's just like she's just a generically nice, good card. Direct direct power creep of Serpent Priestess, which is kind of funny.
Well, no, but Snake Priestess was. Wait, is there a Serpent? Or are you talking about Snake Priestess?
Snake Priestess. I meant
she was
Priestess.
a 1-drop though.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, in this game she was a 1-drop.
Oh, you're right. You're right. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's this is good and this is nice in Wardhaven, just for the the cheap ward draw card. Obviously in Machina it has crazy potential, because if you had that full EX area full of repair modes, then you can search anything you want. It's there are probably just a lot of Haven. This is probably just very splashable in a lot of Haven decks, because it's just nice.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think about like Wardhaven, because the minute that came out, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of rough deck. But this is definitely one that, like exactly what it needs is like an early game card that like draws or goes even. Because the problem with that deck is you just run out of resources so fast.
Yeah, I think one thing to note too, though, is like I don't know if I very much, unless I obviously it's on game plan, but at the same time, though, I think this card is like can be very powerful. The downside is if you can't if you don't have a way to really generate 5 cards in the EX area at some point in the game, this card becomes a lot worse. It's not horrible, but it's not like you don't get the full potential. And I feel like if you want to play this card, you want to be getting that free search on anything you want whenever.
Yeah,
You
or
know
playing
what?
it early.
Yeah.
You don't think this stat line that just draws a card is good?
I think it's fine. I'm not saying it's like bad, but I'm saying like if I consider this card in a deck, the first thing I'd be thinking about is like how often am I actually going to get the search my deck for the exact card I need for this exact moment, type of thing.
I feel
think-
like there's a lot of other cards. Like I feel like this is. Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, like I don't even think like the search your deck is gonna happen like that often. Because I like it's only gonna happen in Machina. Even in Machina, like you're most of the time you're doing that, you're spending your whole turn. Like once you get to 5, you probably have to spend your whole turn doing a Limonia, and then are you ever gonna get back to 5 repair modes? Maybe. Like hopefully you do. But I just think this is like the best 2-drop we've seen in a really long time, where it's keyword, fairly statted, because we're removing one stat to give it a keyword, and then we draw a card. I think that's really, really strong. Any 2-drop that draws a card is to me really, really, really strong. Especially if it's correctly statted, because I mean it's either going to be a 2/3 and not have ward, or 1/3 and have ward.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say like this card is like horrendous or anything.
No,
I'm just like I'm trying to be reasonable here in the sense that I don't know how often I'm going like, well, I think just playing this 2-drop draw a card that probably doesn't trade into anything very well is going to be good enough, And
It's probably only.
Listen, those are hard times.
I think it probably only doesn't feel good in the late game. Like if you're if you don't have that immediate, if you don't have the search, if you don't have enough stuff in the EX to search the deck, playing this later in the game to just draw another card is probably just going to kind of feel like a waste of 2 play points that you're just playing to try and fish out something better.
Yeah, I could see like if like which is why I think I really like this card, because it scales so well into like the game, where I mean I said like yeah, you're probably gonna have to use the Limonia and eat all the the EX stuff to deal with a board sometime in the mid game. But that's gonna be like against aggressive decks and stuff. Against other decks, you are like this card scales really well, because it's just early game you're drawing a card, late game you're drawing exactly what you need. And also we saw the Augmentation Bestowal, where you could just go play this, search Augmentation Bestowal, play Augmentation Bestowal, get whatever Techno Lord or whatever for 4 mana. Stuff like that. I think it just makes decks like really, really consistent, which I like. But it's still the issue of like I don't know, is Machina going to be good? I'm still not sure.
Yeah.
This is almost an S.
Yeah, I'm
Damn, you guys are really high on this. I feel like.
I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised you're so low, because you were playing Shigowindi.
listen. Those were hard times out there, all right?
You guys are gaslighting me into thinking Shigowindi was a good card.
It was a 1-drop that swung for 2, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, it had 1 less health, and you specifically were not playing one of the other better 1-drops.
All right, moving on here. Who's this? I already forgot.
Like Nova.
Prussia, did you read the last one?
Yeah, I read Marcotte.
All right. Ironknuckle Nun, 2 cost 2/3. Ward, and her fanfare and last words are put a repair mode token in your EX area. Machina and faith traits. Yeah.
It does what it says.
Not much to say. I don't know. Not much to say. It's just it's got the stats that we want for a 2-drop, 2/3.
It's on game plan.
It's got Ward. It's on game plans. Getting you repair modes. Not exciting, but it's another
3 of you'll see in the Machina Haven list.
Yeah, just another. It's just another. Yeah, that's 3 of in Machina Haven. Just because it does what you want it to do, and there's not much else to say.
Yep, exactly.
This generates like 2 basically, especially since it has ward. So it's like I'm just thinking like from the cards we've seen, and then like there's like a neutral 1-drop that gives you
That gives you one as well. Yeah.
So like, how fast can we get to like Technolord off the bestowal? Because we can go play that, play the 1-drop, the neutral 1-drop, play this, and
pretty quick. I like from all the JP matches I watch and stuff, and getting to 5 repair modes by like turn 5 is like trivial.
Can you get it to 4?
I think 4. I think if you get it,
is rough. I think 4.
Yeah, I think if you get to, I think you can do it on 4, but it's probably you have to see more of. You definitely got to see like the 1-drop generation like this and stuff, or like even the bird like going second or whatever.
Yeah, the bird
to really get there. If you see those cards, you should be able to easily get it on 4. But like getting 5 repair modes by turn 5 is like pretty trivial. I feel like from all the matches I've seen of this deck.
Yeah. I guess
feel
the
like
question is just how good is getting Technolord on like 4 or 5 with like for 2 mana.
But yeah, this seems like probably going first. This is the best thing you want to play on turn 2 in this deck.
Yeah.
I would say.
How do I rate this though?
Falcon going first is pretty strong. Falcon, actually, I feel like Falcon going first is better Falcon going first is better because you just don't swing the Falcon, and the next turn you Evo.
That's
Evo
true.
Play this, and then you go like swing Falcon for 3, and then you like ward with the Nun, and then by then you have maybe 4 because the Nun dies, and then like on 4 you go like either play another Nun, play anything, and then Augmentation Bestowal for Technolord. So I mean that curve sounds really
well.
Strong.
I mean, if you get the 1-drop, also you will have 5 by 4. Yeah. I'm kind of torn on how to rate this card because it's just so generically good. Also, it looks every time I look at this card, I just think of Miku from Under Night and Birth.
Well,
I'll go with A just because it's like
older than
just because it's such an. I'll go with A just because it's such an easy 3 of.
Yeah, I'll give it an A too. It's just like you're in the archetype. You throw 3 in and never think about cutting it. I think so.
Yep.
All right, here we have Dark Bishop, a 4-drop 3/3 that evolves for 1, and then on the evolve side has on evolve. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. From among them, you may summon a Fable follower that costs 5 or less, or a Fable Amulet that costs 5 or less, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And it's a 4/4 on the other side. All right, does this even matter in Fable? I don't even know, honestly. Like,
I mean, it's March Hare's tea time. It's tea time on legs.
Yeah, and then you get your other tea time.
No, it's way worse than tea time because you don't get the like 2-drop. You don't get the crack on the.
You don't get the summon the thing back out of the cemetery. No, but you get a guy on board instead.
It's also like
it costs 5 instead of 4. Isn't tea time cost 4? Or was it 5? I forget.
4, no,
yeah,
I think right. Yeah.
It's been a while. So
it gets 4. I mean, the only thing for me, the only thing I see is flipping Odette off this, but this card.
Odette would be sick.
This card is awful. There's no way this card is good. Because you also don't have enough Evo slots in the deck either.
Yeah.
And again, like we talked about with the Rabbit Girl is.
I mean, could you run this over Pinion? I mean, Pinion Prince is kind of something you could cut for this, probably, right?
Really? No.
Is this better than Pinion Prince?
No, I don't think so. Because Pinion Prince gets you like 4 damage.
And also
like Tin Soldier,
Also, the Evo side is like the least important part of Pinion Prince. I feel like it's like a good cherry on top. Yeah,
like you could almost cut the Pinion Prince like Evo. Like maybe you could and play this card, but I don't even think that's good.
And then you'd have to see multiple. You'd have to play multiple copies of this to see. Oh, actually, I don't know. You probably just find it off Alice.
The other aspect, because the other part of like cutting this for Pinion Prince is that's like less 5-drops you get off the tea time, which is really bad. So I don't know. I think this card's like unplayable.
I'm kind of in that camp. You have
I think it might be worth it if you're still playing Fablehaven. It might be worth experimenting with. I'm just not sure if it's going to lead to anything.
Yeah. All right. Next card here. I remember this guy killing me in Unlimited, or what is it called? What's it?
A lot. He killed. The throwback.
Yeah. When Summit Haven was a thing.
No,
Well, he
wait.
also is just good in Natra Haven.
Was it is it unlimited? Not the non-rotation format. Like sometimes I'd see this
Yeah,
aggro
unlimited
deck.
is the everything.
And then this
format.
guy would come out and just like start punching me for 4, and I'm like, please stop hurting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Meowskers Ruff-Tuff Major, 2 mana, 1/3 Storm. Strike, select enemy leader or follower on the field and deal it 1 damage. He's a Natra, Lightborn Beast. It's interesting that because I mean Meowskers like is kind of such an iconic character from like Natra and stuff that they had to put him in. But I'm kind of interested that they didn't make him a neutral card because that's how they did some of these other like either they swapped classes or they were just neutral. Because yeah, I don't know what class he would be other than Haven, but this is like the only time where we see a out of like a Natra card in the like a mech set where we've seen half of the classes get mech, half of the classes get Natra, and then Haven just gets these 2 Natra cards because Meowskers.
Yeah, so despite being a Natra card, Meowskers isn't played in a Natra archetype because there isn't one for Haven.
Yeah, exactly.
They went with Machina Haven instead.
Yeah.
So he's more of an amulet support. So he's more of an amulet support. If we'll see, let's talk about his amulet too. Because that becomes relevant with the. Because I think Amulet Haven does start to become a thing again, like in the next couple of sets. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't know that much about it, but I know it's a thing.
Mhm.
So, and both Meowskers and his amulet are relevant to that.
Yeah.
So let's look at we should look at Meowskers Ambush.
I have the amulet up here. So it's a 1-drop amulet, Meowskers Ambush. Fanfare, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Havencraft follower from among them and add it to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Activate for 1 play point. Engage this card. Bury this card. You may summon a follower with Meowskers and its name from your hand.
Yeah, so interesting. This card was called Sneak Attack in digital.
Yeah.
But the reason why they changed it to Meowskers Ambush, which is more of a direct translation of the Japanese name, is because in set 12 there is a card that cares about cards with Meowskers in the name.
That's funny. That's funny. That's
yeah, so
there's another name change later that we'll talk about, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I wish I could say more about this. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the amulet deck that Meowskers gets played in upcoming, but I just know that he does have a place despite being the random here's a random Natra character in Haven where they decided to make Haven Machina involve.
All right, listen. This
We
is
do
the
love
start
Meowskers
of.
though. We couldn't not include Meowskers though. We love Meowskers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the start of
Valdane's
Butthaven. Bring Butthaven back.
Valdane's therapy cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always been my theory why he's Haven is he's basically Valdane's therapy cat.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, what's funny is we don't have Summit Temple, which is the card that was the engine for the really silly unlimited Meowskers deck in digital, but we do have Archpriestess Lyalia who's Summit Temple on legs. So you could theoretically kind of recreate it, but that's some peak memeing.
Yeah. Oh man. I love this guy, but also he doesn't do anything in this meta, right? Like 0.
No.
I can't imagine anything at all.
Not now, no, not until
I'm sorry.
that
I'm giving him the seal of F for now.
Say,
I generally don't know how to I generally don't know how to rate him. I just know he's not played in this set. He has a place later though, so.
Yeah, let's jump to the amulet really quick. I mean, amulet totally fine for his support.
Same as I don't know how to rate it because I don't know enough about.
It should have said search your deck for Meowskers and play it.
Yeah.
It should have. I mean, it's unplayable without that. I mean, it's just terrible.
Yeah. All right, here's the last card. One of you grab it. I guess Pressure.
All right, Saintly Core. 1 mana, fanfare. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Machina card from among them and add it to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Activate, engage this card, bury this card. Put a repair mode token into your EX area. Activate only if you have at least 2 Machina followers on your field. This is one of the harder conditions to activate because you have to have them in your field. Like we saw some of the other ones with like Graveyard or something in the EX area, you know. I mean, it's fine. I think this might be the Machina deck that has the least amount of like Machina cards in it. So that is something to keep in mind, is like the ratio for this card might just end up being like this card just sucks because the activation effect is you know, harder than the other ones, and also only checking top 2 you could like there's a pretty good chance you just miss. And then that's pretty bad for this card. So actually I don't think this card's that good. Just because
Actually,
like,
I think this is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just because this is like the activation is just like really way harder than
the others, yeah.
other ones.
Really, I think it's easier. Like I see this. I think this is easier to get to activate than it is the Abyss one, because for the Abyss one you need 5 things in Cemetery, and then it's way easier than the Rune one where you need like 3 things in EX area. This one you just need to have 2 guys on the field, which is not hard, because you can play this turn 1 and then by like turn 3 or 4 it can go off like almost guaranteed. Whereas it may take longer for the others.
If things live, yeah. That's my issue, is that this is the only
Well, you just play 2 guys. You play 2 cheap guys in a turn. Like you could play 2 2-drops on 4, or you know, a 1 and a 2 on 3.
Yeah, but the 2-drops we've seen so far are like not ones you want to be playing 2 of on 4 because they don't really affect the board in any way.
Well, you got neutrals too, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think this is, to me, this is one of the weaker ones, mostly because it's just like not even thinking about the like activate part, because I do think that is like a pretty important part, but it is just like this seems to be the deck that's going to have the least amount of Machina cards in the deck, you know, and only checking top 2 is really rough. And then I also think like this will be easy to activate once you do Limonia, but I don't care about like the second Limonia. I care about getting to the first one fast, or like getting to the first Augmentation Bestowal fast. So like, yeah, so you're going to be able to like play this, see something, you know, get something, and then when you do your Limonia, you can get a thing back and then pop this and get one back and get to your next Augmentation Bestowal / Limonia faster. But I just want to get to the first one fast. Like I don't care about getting to the second one fast or faster, you know. So I don't know. I think this is I don't know. I don't like this card at all. I think this is
I'm leaning more towards what Precious spit in here. I'm not a big fan of this card. I could see it like maybe finding slots or something if you really need it. I'm just not super impressed, and it does. Yeah.
I like this. I actually like this core the most out of all of the 3. That said, all of the 3 are just kind of, they're just kind of, you just kind of run them because they're all we have for Machina right now, and that's the only reason they get run. Like it's like come set 12 when we get more Machina Natura cards. These cards are, you're never gonna see them again. But yeah, I just the cores themselves are just, I like it the most out of all 3 of the cores, but the cores themselves are just, you know, whatever. So I'll go with the C.
I guess I have to give this one an F, because the other one I gave a D, and then the Rune one I gave an F, and this is, in my opinion, definitely the worst one. So I'm gonna give it an F.
I'll split between you. Whoa, what am I doing here? Well, I messed up my thing again. Whatever. I'm gonna give it a D. I think it's like somewhat-ish playable, but it's probably like very quickly to be cut, like depending on how you build your deck. But yeah, I think I do agree with Pressure though. Like it's not necessarily about getting this like slight extra payoff later to like put something in the X zone. It's more about getting to the first one as fast as possible, and I feel like this doesn't necessarily fulfill that role.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was the last Haven card. Here are some socials for you guys to follow us all on. We got some Twitter, X, whatever, and Blue Sky Social. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, please. Thank you. I beg of you. My life depends on it. But besides all that, you guys have any last minute shout outs?
Shadowverse Wiki and Shadowverse Evolved Discord. Y'all are awesome.
Shout out to you guys.
Awesome.
Yes, to you, the viewers. Shout out to you, the viewers, for being awesome and watching. For also being awesome and watching these.
That's to the viewers for not beating me up in the comments.
Yeah, what was it? Without viewers like you, PBS wouldn't exist, or whatever. What was?
Yeah,
what did
yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Need to start including that at the end without viewers like
Yeah.
you. All right. With that being said, guys, hopefully we see you in the next video, which will be the last one. It's neutral. We'll see you there. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.